Welcome everybody to the presentation. I'm Trevor, and once again I'm gonna host, and we are talking eBay, specifically the retail strategy. Also doing listings with normal drop shippers and suppliers. I guess this webinar is going to relate to anything, but it's mostly going to be about how do you effectively get listings up onto eBay, and how do you do it quickly and effectively, and what things should you do or shouldn't you do. So I know we've got other content about that kind of stuff. I just felt like it would be valuable to spend a good solid 30 minutes or so or whatever and just do a bunch of listings together so you can kind of see my thought process as I go through it. And feel free, as always, as we're doing this, to ask questions. Those of you guys who are here live, if you're watching it recorded, contact your coach if you got any questions. So you should be looking at my screen right now. I've got Google Chrome going, so that's going to be my first piece of advice. If you're not using Google Chrome, if you're using like Firefox or Internet Explorer or one of the older browsers, let's get onto Google Chrome, because that's going to run eBay and every other website a lot better. So that's where I'm at, or that's where I'm sitting right now, Google Chrome, and I am going to open up a new tab right here so I can go to my supplier. So I've got eBay up top. But if I click on this little option right here, it's going to bring up a new tab, and I'm going to be able to go to another page. So in this case, I'm going to head over to Walmart.com for just a minute, because we'll probably use this as our example site. I know we use Walmart a lot. That doesn't mean you guys have to use Walmart, but it's just kind of an easy one for me to show you how, getting listings up actually works, specifically and especially with doing it with the retail strategy, the retail drop shipping method. So if you're watching this too, you probably should have seen some webinars that we've done on, a little more about what the retail strategy is and what drop shipping is. I'll kind of explain that as we go through here. But this is mostly about just getting listings up, okay? So I like to have these two tabs just like this, because I can click back and forth from eBay to Walmart in a second. You can see my tabs up here at the top. I've had a few clients that have liked to do the whole split screen approach. And creating a split screen on a monitor isn't hard to do either. If you clicked up here on the Walmart tab and held down your click and dragged it, it's going to pull it off from the initial window up here. It's going to create two windows, okay? If I clicked and held it, I could also drag it back and bring it back as one of the tabs. Right now I've got one internet window up with these two tabs, but if I click once and drag, I can pull it out. And now, excuse me, and now I have two internet windows up, okay? So if I wanted, and this is I know some of you guys prefer this. I don't. I like to just use the tabs, but I'll just show you for the sake of time, and for the sake of those you guys who like to list this way. You can click and drag and size the windows. You see this? So I'm clicking and holding on the window, and I can kind of drag it bigger and smaller. Drag it about half the size of the screen, like this, and kind of drag it around. You guys can kind of see how that works. See? Right? And I can even do that with this other one, this other tab. I can click and just kind of drag it. Try to size it a little bit so it fits over here. So I can almost create, in essence, like a little split screen. I know some of my clients like to do it this way. See that? There you go. So I've got these two screens up going at once. Let me even them out just a little bit. The Walmart one was quite a bit bigger. Okay, there we go. See that? There might be a quicker way to do that than like manually sizing it. I know if you're on a Windows computer, like you can snap it into place easily. I'm on a Mac right now, so it's a little more difficult, but anyway. You can kind of drag and drop and size it up. So now it's really easy. I've got eBay on one side of the screen and I've got Walmart on the other. I can quickly kind of use both at the same time if I want to. I'm not going to do that though, guys, because I would argue it's easier, and I'm going to click and drag this Walmart icon or tab right back up onto the eBay one. I prefer them both in the same window, just like this, and I can easily just tab back and forth, okay? For me, it's a speed thing, and I think I'm faster if I do it that way. All right, so questions about that? Are we okay there? What do you guys prefer? Those of you who are here live, what do you do when you do your listings? Do you like the two-screen approach, or You just use tabs like that. I bet most of you guys use tabs. Oh, Rick, you do the split screen. Most of you guys are saying tabs. Rick, you might be the black sheep. You might be the only one doing tabs or split screen here. Yeah, most of you guys do tabs. Okay. There you go, Rick. Oh wait, Linda splits it as well. Okay, there's two of you. You're not the only one. It's just a matter of preference. I don't think one is better than the other. It's just whatever you like. Okay, so I'm here on eBay, right? eBay.com. I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to click the sell button. That little link there. I know it's kind of small on your screen, but you can see it at the top that it says sell. I'm going to click on that. And it's going to take me here to this screen where I can start a listing. Okay. Now I need to go find something to sell. And I'm going to do this. I haven't pre-planned anything here, so I'm hopping onto Walmart just like you guys would. And I know some of you guys get here and you're like, what should I sell? Walmart has thousands and thousands and thousands of products. Well, do yourself a favor and just look at what they're advertising first. Walmart's been in the retail business a whole lot longer than you or I have been in the retail business. They know what sells this time of year, so they're often going to advertise that there on their homepage pretty aggressively. So they've got some cleaning products, backyard products, which I'm not surprised about. You consider the time of year. We're doing this March 27th. We're on the cusp of spring. They're doing barbecue stuff, mulch. You can see that. So I always kind of take a cue from them, you know, about what maybe is in season and what I should start listing. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's go back to that. Find that backyard. There you go. I'm going to click on this and it'll probably take me to their backyard section. There we go. So pools, bikes, swing sets. It looks like that's kind of what they're trying to promote. So I'm going to grab one of these. Okay, a good example might just be, let's do this first one right here. It's got 4 stars, and that's something I might take a look at on a Walmart listing. You know, I want to make sure I'm not listing a piece of garbage, right? I want to list something that people like. So it looks fine. I mean, I'm not going to prejudge this too much. I know you're probably inclined to think, okay, well, let's go quickly look this up on eBay and like, let's see what other people are selling it for. I guess we could, but that I don't usually do that. But for the sake of this, just to kind of show you what we might find, let's just do it. I'm going to go to eBay here. I opened up a new tab, you can see, and I'm going to copy and paste that title in there. And let's just see what people are selling it for on eBay. Okay. Now for Walmart, we can get it for $400 plus $100. It looks like there's a shipping surcharge. Yep. So there's a shipping surcharge, it looks like, on this, and that's notifying us right there. So it's 400. It's actually $500 then, right? That's our real cost on this thing, $500 from Walmart. Well, I mean, I don't typically do this, and I don't recommend you do the same, but I'll just show you right now anyway. You can see what people are listing it for on eBay right now if you just type in the title. You've got one for $600 right here, another one for $600, this one for $521, $650, $500, $600, $740, $750, $740. Okay, this same one for $1,000, right? That surprised you guys a little bit that the prices are all over the board. I mean, there might be some retail sellers here that are doing the same thing. I don't know. Maybe some of these are retail sellers. I can always click on one of these listings and learn about it. Looks like these guys have already sold one for $600. It says one sold. If I click on that one sold, yeah, they sold this for $613 on March 21st. So there you go. I mean, these guys sold it for $613. Once again, I promise you guys, there's evidence here that I know some of you guys give me some pushback on the retail strategy, like, you can't compete. You know, you're selling something from a retailer, which is already marked up to a retail price, and you're trying to mark it up further. Well, guys, it's not true. You can do it. Like this is I didn't pre-plan this. This is the first item I saw here. They sold this thing for over $600 just a few days ago. So I'm telling you, the retail strategy works. Pricing, albeit important, isn't nearly as important as everybody gives it credit for. This stuff really does work. So this guy sold it for $602, and that you can see prices all over the board here. The person who's going to sell this eventually, though, in my opinion, is going to be the one that has the best title because they get the most exposure, and the person that ranks the highest. Okay, if you've figured out the eBay ranking system a little bit, if you rank towards the top and you've got a good title and your price isn't awful, then you're probably going to sell it. So let's list it. Okay, let's list it. Again, I don't show this to you because I would recommend going and price checking like I just did. I did this more as just a point to show you that people have prices all over the board, and you know it does work to mark something up and sell it. It does. We wouldn't teach this strategy if it didn't work. All right, so I'm going to list it. So let's do it. So I'm gonna come to the sell screen right here where I was, and I'm going to put in, this is a what do we want to call it? A backyard swing set. Okay, we're just putting in for the category here. I could, if I wanted, this is often what I'll do. I'll come over here and I'll copy the title real quick, and then I'll swing over here to eBay and paste it in right here and do a search. Right now, I'm just picking a category which is not overly important. So, right, like you can see right here, it gives me several options for a title. Don't stress over this. Just pick something that looks accurate. Outdoor toys and furniture swings. I'm going to click on that. That's good enough. As long as you're not listing it in like the electronics category or something funny like that, just put it in a category that's close. So it's going to bring me in here, and it's going to copy this title that I have from Walmart, and I'm going to just keep that there temporarily. And I'm going to kind of go through this like I would. So I leave the title there as it is. We're going to change that in a minute. I go down here to condition, and I select new. Okay. I skip the subtitle because that's an extra 50 cents, and there's no reason to do a subtitle. Okay. It's just the way eBay is making more money. We don't need it. Now we need to add photos. Now, how many am I going to add? Typically, I'm just going to add one the first time. I know this specific item has multiple photos over here on Walmart, right? That might help me sell it a little bit better, but I'm just going to go ahead and just grab the initial photo and try to list that just for the sake of speed, because a lot of what we do here when you're doing the retail strategies, you're focusing on speed. You're trying to make this as fast as possible. So let's right-click on this. It looks like I can save it. Right-click on top of it. This is a new Walmart thing. You can actually save their images. Okay, right-click, save image as. I'm going to save this to my desktop. Hit save, so I've got the image now. Now I could try to load this into eBay. I just saved it, right? So I could try to load this in. Let me click on this little box here. It's going to bring up another window. It's going to say select photos, and I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me into my files on my computer, and I'm going to look for my desktop, which is where I put it. Here's the image right here. I'm going to double click, and it loads it in, okay? And then I'm just going to click finish. Now notice this. I'll bet you guys have seen this before. It says photo quality issues. You're using photos that don't meet our quality standards. To improve the chances of your item selling, please upload photos that meet our requirements. That requirement is 500 pixels, at least on one side. This picture is not big enough, okay? Just know the default pictures from Walmart are never going to be big enough. So in the future, if you were doing a Walmart listing, I'm going to click out of that. I'm going to have to open up Pixlr up here at the top, pixlr.com. Okay? And I'm going to come over here to this little launch web app. And Rick, I see your comment there. You say they have free shipping and new in their title. Are you talking about some of the other sellers that we were looking at, that they have free shipping and new in their title? Is that what you're referring to? Some of these guys? These guys do here at the very top. A lot of them do. Sometimes you can glean some ideas about what to put in your title by looking at that. That's a good strategy too. I'll touch on that here in just a sec, Linda. I'll touch on that's actually something that speeds this process up. So I'm going to open an image from my computer right here, and I'm going to go select the one that I saved, and here it is. And sure enough, if you're looking at Pixlr, what size is it? Can you guys see that right here in the dark gray? It's not 500, that's for sure. We're just a little short. It's close. It's 450 by 450. Okay, that's a really close size. So so that's a good image size. I'm going to just increase it just a touch. I'm going to go here to image size, and I'm going to change this from 450 by 450 to 500 by 500. I'm going to hit OK, and you can see it doesn't even look like it changed at all, just because we barely pushed it up, but it did change it a little bit. It's a little bit bigger. I'm going to resave this now. File, save. And I can leave it the same name. That doesn't matter. Just keep all the settings the same. Save on my desktop. Boom, I'm done. Just like that. So now I can go back to eBay, and I can put this thing on. Select photos. My new image is right there. I didn't get the error message anymore. I hit finish, and just like that, I got my image in. Okay? Pretty easy. Now, Linda, I like your point. Linda said, you know what? Sometimes it's easier, rather than like getting the smaller image from Walmart and bringing it into Pixlr and increasing the size and resaving it and bringing it back over to eBay like I just did. She says sometimes she just finds the item or the picture on eBay, searches for the product, finds the picture, downloads it off eBay. Because what do we know about the picture? If it's on eBay, is there any chance that it's going to be too small? No way, right? It's on eBay. It has to meet their criteria. So you could just grab it off of eBay. For sure, it's going to be 500 by 500 at least, and you're going to be good to go. So that's a good suggestion. That's something I do as well to speed things up a little bit. Good thought, Linda. Virginia, you just asked, are you using the free Pixlr or paid version? Free. Yep, this is the free version right here. You definitely don't need the paid version. One thing I want to point out, though, just while we're talking about this right here, you guys notice over here at the bottom right-hand side of my screen on Pixlr, you see what they're trying to advertise to me? Right over here, you see this little ad that came up? They've got two ads on the right-hand side of the screen. What are they trying to advertise to me? You guys see that? Right here, I'll move my mouse over it a little bit. Doesn't that look awfully familiar? Like, that's exactly what we're going to be selling right now. Let me ask you guys a question. How is it that Pixlr is now advertising to me what I was just looking at on Walmart? Does that make sense? You guys see this right here? This is a paid Walmart ad that's showing up on Pixlr that's actually advertising that same product I was just looking at. Do you guys ever notice that when you're online? That all of a sudden sometimes you're being advertised to like that? And often it's the very thing you were just looking at. Yeah, so some of you guys are saying I'm being tracked. How am I being tracked? How does that work? I guess I don't need like the technicalities behind it, but yeah, it's your cookies, right? So when I'm online and I'm surfing the internet, my browser is sort of like collecting data about the things that I'm seeing. And in the advertising world on the internet, companies can actually find out what are some of the things, what are my cookies, the things that I've been looking at, and they can advertise to me. So Pixlr knows that I was just on. It's a little scary, right? But they know I was just on Walmart looking at this because of that cookie that was picked up, and now they're advertising to me the same thing. So I've had a few clients that are like, I'm seeing my stuff show up on Facebook, and I'm seeing my stuff show up in various places that, my competition, and why am I all of a sudden seeing my competition show up everywhere? Why am I seeing my supplier advertised? And well, that's the reason why. We're all being tracked, right? Welcome to 2015. I guess that's kind of the way it works. We're all being tracked. They can see, they track those cookies. So anyway, just keep that in mind. I'm sure some of you guys knew that. Others, that might surprise you, but don't let that bother you. Okay? So anyway, so picture stuff. I'm not going to belabor this point anymore. Yeah, big brother indeed, Kirk. That's exactly what it's like. I'm just going to get back in here and let's get this thing finished up. Now, in the past, I've told you guys to quickly skip over item specifics. There is some evidence that adding in item specifics can actually help your rankings a little bit. So, if you know the brand, you can drop in the brand. It's got some awkward ones. Gender, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to remove that. Year. Recommended age range. If you've got that information, you could put that in. Because whatever keywords you put into these fields here, it can sometimes help you get found. So, for example, like add your own item specific. I could click this and I could call this one material. And this is made of wood, so I'm going to say wood and plastic. Okay? And maybe I'll say wood, plastic, and metal. Okay, so if I'm doing that kind of thing, there's a chance that those keywords are going to help me get found a little bit. That's what evidence has shown us, and I know I've discouraged you guys from filling this section out just because we've always been about speed. I want you to hurry through this process and just get it done, get the listing up. So if you can, while you're listing and it doesn't take you much time, throw in a couple of item specifics and then move on. Keywords of things that you think would be valuable there. Okay? Then we head down to the details section for the description. Let's change that up a little bit. We've got to just copy and paste, don't we? And I'm going to do that here from Walmart. I'm just going to copy and paste their description. I'm not going to, but I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to copy things that are I don't know, sort of like unique to Walmart, because sometimes in product descriptions from various retailers, there's going to be extras there, like a contact email for your retailer or whatever. Just make sure you're getting just the product description. So anyway, I'm just going to copy the main description, not any of the extra stuff. Not any phone numbers or anything, just the main description. That's all I want. Copy and paste. There we go. So I've got my main description in there. Okay. Scroll on down. I need to price this thing. Now help me out, guys. We were getting this item for, whoops, let's get back to Walmart here. We're getting this for $400 plus $100 of shipping. So we're looking at $500. We got to add sales tax to this, right? Because if you're buying from Walmart, you're probably going to have to pay sales tax, right? Yes, and I did, Linda. I saw that note there that they would contact me, but I guess Linda's referring to this little section right here. The freight trucking service that ships your backyard discovery swing set will contact you to schedule a delivery appointment. I'm probably going to relay that message to my buyer, because on bigger items like this, I'm usually in touch with the buyer a little bit, and I would let them know that. I would talk to them about that. Anyway, so I did see that. But the point I was going to make is on your price. You can see that we're set up for $500. Walmart is one of those places that's going to get charged sales tax, or they're going to have to charge you sales tax when you buy it. And I always roughly estimate about 10%. So it's not going to cost me $500 to buy it from Walmart. It's going to cost me $550, right, with a 10% sales tax. That sales tax rate is based, of course, on where it's being sent, and I don't know where it's going to be sent. So I'm going to guess 10% just to be safe. Okay, I don't want to guess like 7% and it ends up being 9% and I have to pay that extra. Okay, so 10%. So that puts it up to $550, which means if I sold it for, let's say I'm going to kind of throw out a guess here. Let's say I sold it for $650. Okay? $650. If I sold it for that, or at least priced it for that, and it sold, remember I've got eBay fees of 13, eBay and PayPal fees of 13%. Okay, 13% of a $650 sales price is $84.50. Okay, so if I take $650 and minus $84.50, that leaves me with $565. And then if I minus my initial product cost, which is $550, I'm left with $15.50 of profit. Okay, that's not very much profit on something if I'm selling it for $650, right? I always like you guys with your sales price to be much. I mean, you could probably say on a $650 item, I'd like to see you make between 10 and 20% on it. So we want to be making more like $65 on this. So we're going to have to price this a bit higher. Maybe we price it for like $710 or something. Okay. So at $710, if I charge that, I'll have to multiply that by 13%. That means I'd be paying about $92 out to eBay and PayPal. 710 minus 92. Whoops, 710 minus 92. That's 618. And then if I minus out my Walmart cost, which we've decided is $550, I'm left with $68. That's a much better price, and that's probably how I would price it. Does that kind of make sense, guys? For those of you guys who have questions from a pricing perspective, that's how I would price this. I'm making $68. That's a little over. Well, we can tell what percentage that is. If I take 68 and divide that by 710, I'm making about a 9.5% profit on that, which is pretty good in the retail drop shipping space. Okay. I'm going to just write that out real quick because I'm doing all these calculations here, but you guys aren't seeing the calculations. So let me just write that out. So we're saying this item, real quick, we're saying this is a, well, it's a $400 item, right? That's the cost from Walmart, but it's also $100 shipping. So that equals $500 total cost from Walmart. And then we need to multiply it by 10% sales tax, which equals $50. So total from Walmart equals $550. Does that make sense right there, guys? Let me know if you're following along okay. 400 plus the 100 in shipping, that equals 500 from Walmart. We're estimating a 10% sales tax when we buy it. It's an extra 50, 550 is our total cost. It'll probably be a little lower than that, honestly, because it's probably not going to be a 10% sales tax. It might more realistically be like 8. And if it were 8, if we did 0.08 instead of 10 on 500, 0.08, we'd save $10. So, but I'm going to go with 10 just to be safe. Okay, so it's $550. We guessed it may be selling it for $710, right? So at $710, I need to multiply that by 0.13, okay? Because 0.13 is my PayPal and eBay fees. 710 times 0.13, we're at 92. Rounded down a little bit. That's $92 of cost, okay? So now I just add up all my costs. So I say revenue equals 710. Walmart equals 550. And we need to minus that out. And to show minus, I'm just going to put this in brackets or in parentheses. And then eBay / PayPal equals 92. Okay. So what's our total profit on this then, guys? we just do 710 minus 550 minus 92 equals $68. 68 profit. Okay. So there's the intuition behind it. That shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of you guys who have been doing this for a while. And that might seem like a long process to those of you guys who aren't comfortable running the numbers as fast yet. But as you get practice at this, this should be a piece of cake. You'll run through this in a second, and it won't take you long at all to price your products. The last step is if you want to understand what your margin, your profit margin on this was, you take your 68 in profit and divide that by your sales price, which is 710. So take your profit divided by sales price. That equals, which equals 0.095. Whoops, that was an O. 0.095, which also equals 9.5%. Okay, so that's my profit margin right there. Our goal is we want to see anywhere between 10 and, I'll say between 10 and 20%. I found that to be pretty realistic with a lot of retail sales. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Guys, we good on that? I'm just leaving this up for just a second for you guys who are watching it recorded. But there you go. So all that calculation, right, just to get up one listing, well, that takes like 4 seconds when you get fast at this. So I'm going to do, instead of 710, I guess I could do 710, but I like the 709.99 approach. But when I'm choosing a price, I can either do an auction or a fixed price. And lately, I've been doing more auctions because they're cheaper. There's not as many 30-cent fees involved. So I might just go ahead and do 709.99 on my auction. Whoops, keeps deleting it out for me. Hold on. We'll see if it'll keep it this time. Wow, it doesn't want to take it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I don't know what it was doing, guys. Every once in a while, it flips out on me like that. I'm not sure why. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, that happens to you guys too. It drives me crazy. I really don't know. I've been meaning to call eBay about it because every once in a while I'm typing in my price and then boom, it's gone. And I type it in again and then boom, it's gone. And then I have to like click on the tabs and back and forth, and then I put it in and then all of a sudden it takes it. I don't know. Nicole, your guess is as good as mine because that definitely happens to me a little bit. Okay, cool. So there we go. We've got the price in. We're just doing the auction, so we're not doing a buy it now and an auction. I just put in my auction price there. I've got my PayPal email put in here so I can get paid. We already built our shipping in, so I'm doing free shipping right here. You can do standard shipping 1 to 6 days or economy shipping 1 to 10. Either or is fine. Just depends on how good your supplier is. I'm pretty comfortable with Walmart, but sometimes on their bigger stuff it takes longer, so I'm going to go 1 to 10 days. Handling time. Somebody explain to me really quick, what does handling time mean? Well, for those of you guys who are here live. What's handling time? I choose 3 days. But you can choose here same day, 1, 2, 3 business days or more. It's the time it takes from when it's ordered, when somebody actually places the order, to where you're uploading a tracking number saying that it's been shipped. I like to take 3 days because sometimes from my supplier it may take a little longer to get a tracking number. Okay? 3 days is a good buffer period there. You don't have to put any package details or anything. Assuming you guys have listed before, this is you can set up your return policy, and I tend to do the 14-day money back policy. That's what I like anyway. 14 days money back. Depends on your supplier, of course, but that's what I like to do. And then you can always see a summary of your fees after you've done it, okay? The only thing I'm missing here is I need to fix up this title a little bit. So I'm going to do that real fast. Backyard Discovery, Tucson Cedar, Swing Set. We can do a better title. Look, we've got 32 characters left here. We get an allotment of 80, so I want to make this as good as I can. I'm gonna zoom in here so you guys can see me type this a little bit better. Backyard Discovery is probably, I think that's the name brand. I don't think that's very important because I think a lot of people won't be looking for the name brand when they're looking for a swing set. Maybe they are, but most of the time they're just looking for a swing set. We don't really know swing sets like by brand like we know phones by brand, or TVs, right, or clothing, okay? So if the brand isn't that important, I tend to like to put my most important keywords at the very front. So I'm going to call this I'll call it a backyard swing set. I might even do swing set, because those are different words. Swing set and swing set, although it looks repetitive, those are definitely different words there. It's wood, wooden, cedar, maybe, large. Maybe I'll put in some of its features here. What do you guys think? You guys can help me out if you want. Stained wood, covered. Covered is nice. That's probably a good keyword. Covered. Slide, I like that. Roof. I'm going to put in slide. Children's. Yep. I don't have many characters left. I've got 3 at the end. I'll just put new, I guess. But anyway, that's a pretty good title right there. We could probably improve that a little bit, but no, I mean we're right at 80. That's good enough, okay? So that's it. I can come down here and hit continue. Unless I made a mistake here. Yep, it's taken me to my review page. The listing is free. No cost here. You can always tell how much your expense is, and then I can hit list your item. Okay, we're listing it live right now. And there it is. There's my live item, my newly listed swing set. All right, 709. We've done the calculations. The picture looks good. Great title. Good description here. Everything's ready to rock and roll. Okay, now that we've done it slow, let's do it fast. Let's find something else, and let's actually be quick about it. So we're not going to do all the research and the talking through each point. I'm just going to show you guys how I list. If I were to list something, okay? Since I'm in this category at Walmart, one thing I do to speed up the process is sometimes I'll just stick in a category and I'll just list, right? I'll pick 5 or 6 items and I'll just crank them out in a hurry. So we'll pick something in a different category just so we're not doing the same type of thing. All right, let's list like a, I don't know, this little playhouse thing right here. Okay. And I'm just going to talk you through it as I would do it. Okay. I'm more accustomed to when I first bring up a listing like this or an item, I'm just going to highlight the title. I like to go out here to Google Images and I grab the image first thing just so I can get that out of the way. Okay, so let's find one. There's 450 by 450. I'm going to grab this one that's 450 by 450 here. And I'm just going to save it, save image as. I know it's not big enough. I'm saving it to my desktop and I'm going to come right in here. I'm not going to talk you guys through this as much. I'm just going to go like I would go. Image, size, and you can see how, if you know the steps, you can do this really quickly. It doesn't take that long. Save. Okay, I've got a big enough image now, so I'm done with that. Okay. Let me head over to eBay and let me start the sales. I got my picture. I usually like to just grab my picture just really fast like that. Okay. Let me close out some of these windows though. Okay, so here we go. Let's start our listing. So I'm going to put in the title. I'm going to call this Outdoor Playhouse. Find a category that fits. This one right here. Again, remember the category doesn't matter that much. That's not going to impact whether you get found at all. Just don't do several categories. Okay, so I got to put my title in. I'm just going to do this really quick. So this is actually I'll come back to that because I don't really know much about the product right now. I'll learn about it as I bring in the description. So let's pull in a photo here. Finish. Photos in. If you don't know much about the product, you might just skip over the item specifics. Like I said, there's a chance, of course, that that might help out your listings a little bit, but there's no hard evidence about that. Maybe, right? So I could grab, like, I don't even know. There's nothing in here that I think I'm not going to get in the title. A lot of times I'll do item specifics if I have so many keywords that I can't fit them all into the title. I think I'm going to be okay. All right, so this item right here, this is the same issue, okay, $100 shipping surcharge, but notice it's a rollback. I'm always careful about rollbacks. It's saying I'm getting it for $260 right now. It's usually $300. Well, I'm going to bet that it's going to stay $300 by the time it sells. So it's $300 plus $100 in shipping. That's a $400 item. If I multiply that by 10%, that's going to be $440 is going to be my cost. I'm going to guess about $565 would be a good price. If I sold it for $565, 565 times 0.1, or 565 times 0.13, that gives me $73 in cost there. So $73 in eBay fees plus 440 equals 513 minus my sales cost. I'm going to make $52 on this if I sell it for that price. If I do 52 divided by my sales cost, the 565, that's about a 9% margin. I might do more, but that's probably good. Okay. So 565, we'll do 565.99. Okay. Easy enough. We kind of skipped over the duration. I usually do 7 days. I think that's fine. PayPal is good. I've got free shipping selected. 1 to 10 days of economy shipping, 3 business days for handling. Return policies all set up. The only thing I'm missing here is a decent title. So this is where I would usually take a little bit of time to work at it. Looking at the item, it's like a kids outdoor, the Me and My Puppy Cedar Playhouse, integrated dog bench. I can usually look at the picture and be able to tell a little bit better what it's all about. So it's like a kid/dog house. I guess it doubles as both. So I'm going to call this, it definitely needs to be, I need to use core keywords like playhouse, kids, children's, outdoor, backyard, dog, pet. Sports power, I don't know. I mean, I could maybe keep that. I don't know if the brand's that important. It might be. I'll leave it there for right now. What's it made out of? Cedar. So it's a nice wooden quality one. So I might even use the word quality. Quality wood new, maybe. Right? How important is sports power? I don't think it's that important. If I leave it in here as the name brand, I'm going to probably just drop it here at the very end because I want my most important keywords there at the front. So there we go. Done with that. Come all the way down to the bottom. Do my best on the title. Hit continue. It might be able to be improved, but I think it's good enough for now. And then I'm going to hit list my item. All right, from start to finish there, I watched the clock, guys. We started that at 12:47. It's 12:52 my time right now, so that was a 5-minute listing. That's about where we like you to get, about 5 minutes apiece. I could have gone faster there. Had I not maybe been talking you guys through it and thinking out loud, had I been listing in that category for a little while, I bet I could cut that listing down to 3 minutes and really just hammer that thing out. And if you think about it, if I'm doing 3-minute listings over and over and over again, I mean that's a lot of listings over the course of an hour, right? I could get 20. I mean, you do the math there, 60 minutes in an hour, 3 minutes per listing. I could do 20 listings in an hour. So that's why, like, I know a lot of you guys aren't there yet on your speed. You know, that it's easy for me to say because I've done this for a lot of years, but I've groomed clients to where they can get that fast and much faster. So it's very possible. I would do more of these listings here if we had time, but we're just about out of time. So hopefully that makes sense. I wanted just to do some examples here with you guys on Walmart. We'll probably do examples in other webinars using different suppliers so you can see how to do things a little more quickly. You can see the thought process of somebody sitting down and actually doing this retail strategy, from title to pricing to speed. I mean, that was kind of all encompassed in our discussion today. For some of you guys, I know some of you guys here are pretty good at listing. That's probably no big deal for you. You've done it for a while. But I'm just gonna survey everybody here. Tell me honestly, for those of you guys who've been doing this retail strategy, what on average does it take you to make a listing? I'm curious. Have you timed yourself recently? And if you have, what's your average time? Okay. Virginia, you're around 10 to 15. Nicole, you say you're about 7 to 10. Dawn, you're about 8. Larry, you're about 10. A lot of you guys have been in around about the same time. 10. A lot of you guys are saying 10. 10 with a little bit more detail, you say, Beth. Okay, so I'm getting on average about 10, which is pretty good, right? But if you think about it, if you're doing 10-minute listings, if I'm doing 3-minute ones, which I often do, I'm getting 20 done in an hour. If you're doing 10-minute listings, you're getting 6 done in an hour, right? Right, I do, based on that, I'm doing more than 3 times the amount of listings you can do in an hour. And I say that because it puts things into perspective a little bit. This whole strategy is based on speed and quality. If you can do a quality listing and you can do it fast and you can do it in volume, meaning you can do a whole lot of them at once, you've got a really good chance of making good money using the retail strategy, okay? Where you can't be is you can't be someone who lists a few things and it takes you a while, and then you get researching other things, you get looking other things up online, and then all of a sudden 2.5 hours has gone by and you've got like 3 listings up, and you're just like, oh, you know, I'm not fast at this. This isn't going to work for me. Well, it probably won't unless you speed up. So you got to really, really work on this speed. And not to discourage anyone who's here that speed is much higher than this. It's okay. We'll whittle you down. For you guys who just watched that, though, what kinds of things did I do that made my listing a little bit faster than maybe what you do? I mean, you saw the way I did that. It took us 5 minutes as I was talking you through it. Is there anything I did that's faster than you? And why is that? Could you pick that out? What that reason might be? Rick, you just asked, are we supposed to copy the title in the description area? I do it on a lot of my listings. Not all of them. Supposedly it can help you rank a little bit better. I don't know if that's actually true. I didn't do it in this one, but I do it on a lot of mine. The math, Ruth, so you mean kind of running the numbers and choosing a price? I did that a little faster than maybe you do. I think that's probably true. I mean, it's easy for someone who's got the numbers and who kind of knows where they want to be. That can take my clients a little while. That just takes practice, of course. Getting the picture. Yeah, I think the picture, getting that done first, I'll tell you why I learned to do that. There was a time in the past where I used to work on my listing, and then I would get my picture a little bit later on in the process, and there would be times where I couldn't find a good picture, and I would have spent all that time starting my listing and thinking about pricing and grabbing information, and then I couldn't get a picture for some reason. So I've always just made it to where I make the picture my very first priority. I get it done, saved, and then I move on to everything else. Dawn, you say maybe the title, and yeah, I'd say so. Like, I can sit down, having listed maybe in some of these niches before, which is why I like you guys to list in a big variety of niches. I know maybe more of the keywords to come off the top of my head there. You've seen in some of my webinars before how you can really dig down into the details of a title and spend some good time there. But if you're going for speed, sometimes you have to draw upon a little bit of experience in what keywords work and what don't. So I think that makes a big difference for sure. Nicole, you say sometimes your speed depends on your supplier. Yeah, I agree. Some suppliers make it easier to list, others are a little tougher. Good. Virginia, let me comment on your question before we finish up, because I think that's a good one. You say, is it ever a good idea to go back and improve listing titles or not bother at all? I think it is a good idea. So my basic premise behind like the amount of time that I list my items doing the retail strategy is I'm kind of like the 3 or 4 strikes and you're out. So I'll give something 3 or 4 weeks, and if it's not getting a lot of interest, I may go in there at that point and bring down the price a little and tweak the title. And if after that amount of time I still not getting interest, I'm not going to waste the space. I'm going to go and find something else that's going to perform better. But I like to give things an adequate amount of time to sell, because not everything's going to just fly off the shelves and sell every single week. Sometimes it takes a little extra time. Yeah, Rick, eBay does make suggestions to you. So if I listed this item, notice how I didn't really put in any item specifics. eBay would probably recommend in my eBay section that I use item specifics. And they're really making a push for that, because I think for them it helps listings rank a little higher in Google. It gets you a little more visibility to have more information there. So, I mean, where it's convenient, I'll do it, but a lot of times I skip it still. I should probably spend more time on it. I've done a webinar recently on the fact that there is some evidence that it ranks better. And so, yeah, it's maybe spending an extra minute on item specifics wouldn't be such a bad thing, because that's the direction that eBay seems to be going. All right, well, good, guys. Well, let me go ahead and finish up on the recording, and then we'll all finish up together. For those of you guys who are watching this recorded, thank you for coming. Hopefully this was instructive. I know there's a lot of repetition in our webinars, but I think sometimes that's what it takes. You have to see things several times to really start getting it, and hopefully this was valuable to you. All right, we'll see you next time.